So we'll call this meeting of the Richland County Executive Finance Standing Committee to order on July 27th at 5 p.m. Roll call, please.
Hoover. Present. Kramer.
Here.
Engel.
Here.
Welty.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Perry.
Here.
Frank. Severson. Present. Cooley.
Thank you. The open meeting law apply?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we have a 17-point agenda. Anybody have any changes or anything? Rod makes a motion to approve.
To approve.
And seconded by Supervisor Thompson. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approval of the minutes, July 14th. Any changes or additions, deletions? Hearing none, we will accept them as posted. Public comment. Do we have anybody online? Rod?
Submitting the evaluation form for the administrator created the issues that need to be addressed. I opened the form on my iPad, but I couldn't edit the file without downloading the Word program. And a Word software, and I didn't feel this was something I should do. And the only other way I could find to complete the form in the way it was to be completed was to apparently violate the board rules, which state that all board members shall utilize their county email address for county business, not conduct business on any other email address. The only way I could find to complete the form and get it to the board chair before the deadline of noon today was to send it to my private email, edit it in Microsoft Word, which is a program I pay monthly for the privilege of using, and then send it back to my county email address, and then share it with the board chair. This is also the only method I can find to print anything from the iPad, which I am often want to do. Given the dinosaur nature of the equipment and the system provided, I don't see how we can help but violate this section from time to time. In the words of a famous American, thank you for your attention to this matter.
So Rob, is the issue the way the issue is our software, right?
Stop. I couldn't get it to work either.
If
I called IT and they couldn't get it to work.
If I may, I had to do the same thing, Ron. I sent an email back to Jeff asking him to send it to my private email at home so I could get the form. And then what I had to do is because I put it in a Word program and then brought it back. But what I did is I scanned it and then I sent it back to Carrie. I hope you got it. Okay. And that's the only way I've been able to get that to work. And I do believe the last time we had to do an evaluation, it was the same way. There's a lot of things that I cannot print or download, and I can't even, forward it to myself at home. But yeah, so I violated the rules a lot of times in order to get that.
I have a note on that. Don't delete those. So those emails that you send to your private emails, keep those saved as much as you can since they are public. If someone were to request them, you'd have to provide that, and not providing that would be an issue.
We can make a special file and
I
just
can
keep that stuff in.
Keep it somewhere where if we need to locate it, we can locate it.
All right.
So given this is a larger issue than we thought, why don't we put it on the future agenda items to have IT come? We could have a full discussion on this. Okay, so we could add that to the.
In the meantime, I think we all get a MacGyver report because we figured out a way.
This is true. Any other public comments? Comments on it? Tiffany?
Can I just say how I did it? I didn't have to send it to my email, but I saved it to a file on here. And then I went and I opened that up and I was able to look up at the top and it had some different things where you could add, do the alphabet, whatever on it. And so I clicked on that and then I was able to fill it out, but then you had to save that. back into a file on here. And then trying to locate that file to tag it into an email was extremely difficult. But after several times of saving it in 20 different places, I was finally able to locate it and send it back. So it was a chore to do.
So we'll address that with the staff and see what we can do.
Yeah.
The next meeting. Great. Item number 7, tourism in Richland County. We had talked about inviting Marty Richards. So Marty, please join us.
Okay.
We're looking for new ideas to improve the quality of life in Richland Center, to maybe do some income streams and tight budgets coming up. And would love to help you think outside the box about some of our underutilized resources.
Yeah, so thanks for inviting
Do
me.
you know everybody?
I never met this guy. I think I know most people. So if not, you'll figure out pretty quick. I'm okay some days. Does anybody here not know me? Good? Okay. Just wanted to make sure of that. I think the biggest thing for me, what I jumped to is that Ash Creek Forest. It's been killing me. Because number one, we tried, even in its current existence, we did our best to confuse visitors by putting a Richland County forest sign on the main highway. But really, it's known as the Ash Creek Forest. So number one, we're making it a scavenger hunt just to find the dang thing. But in reality, so I talk to a lot of visitors that come to the area, and they do go out there. They enjoy it, but it's horribly underused. And I'm probably going to say something that some people may not like, but if you want to generate income, utilizing resources that you have, you really, and I would be happy to assist with this, and I can. I would look at developing part of that as an ATV UTV park, because it's going to answer a couple of things. There's been this ongoing fight trying to figure out how to get the Pine River Trail to ATV UTV use with the current status of what's there, which because of past grants, it's almost impossible. Okay. What people are looking for, so we're a very desirable location for people to go to for ATV UTV use, because we've got so many town roads. Most of the county's open. County roads are all open. It's enjoyable just to go for a ride. But I'll take you to, if you go out on social media right now, Sauk County spent probably $20,000 for Travel Wisconsin or Discover Wisconsin to do a promotional video for their ATV UTV use. But they have the same problem, and that is fall on road. So there is a huge group of people looking for off-road use. And the first comment, so think about this, you spend $20,000 on a video, slick, nice produced video. The first comment on that social media post was, yeah, but where are the off-road trails? And that's what people are really looking for. And there are ways to do that where I think you would not need to utilize, there's 354 acres out there, if I remember right, Carrie. I'm asking the wrong guy. I'm sorry. There you're at 354 or something like that. It was 3 farms. There's a lot of land there. And you wouldn't have to use the whole property. There's multiple, it's kind of like everything else, right? When you have something big, we don't have to get into this, looking down the tunnel and only do one thing. But I think you could take that property, even, just throwing a number out there, 200 acres, 250 acres, that's a lot of land. And you could do a really nice ATV, UTV park, day use. You could sell online the permits to go. Now remember, these are folks who are not probably local. A lot of them would not be local, so they're going to come in with a truck and a trailer. So now you sell the parking spot and the access. They've got registrations on the ATVs and the UTVs. They got serial numbers. So you can easily online have it set up where they're registering for that day use. So And I would limit how many could use it in a day, because one of the best Midwestern known ATV, UTV parks or areas that exist, Black River Falls, right? Well, now people don't want to go there because there's too many. And I've always been a believer in the law of scarcity when selling things. And if you make that a governed number, that only so many come in, you can charge more. Make it for the day use, weekend use, whatever. And there would only be so many parking spots allowed that then correspond with those registrations. So there are ways to do it and not add a bunch of manpower. Now, I have not done the necessary research to really have it all figured out. And I'm happy to help with that. I'd love to do it, because that thing, Ash Creek Forest, has been on my mind since I got this job. Because there's such a resource there to utilize, but we have to look at non-traditional methods to do it. So that's my first. Because it's funny, the city's kind of been focused on the hotel, and I'll be honest with you, I have not been. A large number of folks that come to our area are coming from high population areas and don't want to go stay at another motel. And that's why we've been going to townships and getting them to adopt the room tax, because they're really looking for Airbnb properties that are rural, secluded, quiet. And we've had success with that. We've got 6 municipalities, townships that have adopted the room tax. We have 2 more that they've done everything but sign the paperwork, and we have more interested, because that's where we can get the revenue source to then continue to market the area. But one thing that I struggle with marketing is making sure we have enough attraction to then bring a different group in. Our outdoor spaces sell themselves. We have really good parks. We, photograph great. A lot of them photograph great, so it's easy. Pine River, anybody wants to help clean that, you're welcome to join in someday. May want to sign the hold harmless agreement on that, but it's work, but we're doing it. We're keeping it clean so you can kayak it, but we need more. I think it's more attractions that are unique that will bring a wider array of people to the area.
So Marty, the ATV trail was your first item you wanted to talk to us about?
Yep.
Let's get a reaction to that quick. What do you think?
All right, I like your idea. I like the idea of limited numbers. We'll just pick a number, say there's 50 UTVs a day.
Yep.
How do we police it if there's 55 or 60?
That's the parking spot access. Okay. You only sell so many permits, and this is me, sitting out on the deck, having a couple barley pops, figuring it out, right? I haven't ironed it out 100%, but I know everything I'm telling you is capable. Limit access. So White Mound always kind of did that with their park, where once they got to where you were parking outside of that, you weren't supposed to be there. Now, they didn't have a good way of monitoring that. For us, you'd be selling the permit to the day pass. And there would, maybe sheriff's department has to drive through, make sure no one's parking where they're not supposed to be parked.
And how about liability insurance?
That's another discussion. And there would, being a county entity or a governmental entity, though, there's some protection on that to a limit, right? I need to do the research on that. And I know there are other ATV, UTV parks out there that exist, not so much in Wisconsin. It's an interesting, industry in that it's really desired. There's not a lot of it out there. So I have to do a lot of research to really nail down details.
Other supervisor thoughts?
I like the idea, but have you also thought about maybe adding in mountain bike trail?
So I'm not of the belief that we've got to use all of that property for one thing.
Right.
And yeah, I think a good way to serve more people would be to make 2 different kinds of utilization out of it, yes. And I absolutely, we have people that do mountain bike out there already.
Yep.
They're better than I am on a bike, but, and it's pretty rough. It's, you know, it's rustic. But yeah, but again, so that Ash Creek Forest, that's probably the biggest holdup has been the resource, right? But if we can put something there that then makes it self-sufficient or profit, then we can develop other things.
Fitchburg, after Mass, Gary has one.
As a mountain bike park,
Mountain bike trail.
Yeah.
And then they've got a trail, I don't know if it's in Wisconsin, but they have a beginner's trail.
Mhm.
And then they have I forget what they call it, the wild trail,
Yep.
where it's really
what?
experts.
Yep.
Rosa Perry.
We have a way of knowing usage of that facility right now.
We really don't. It's because there's no daily pass, there's no monitor.
Just come and go.
Yeah, you know, I will say, people use it, right? I'm not gonna, oh, no one uses it. I'm not gonna say that. Is it utilized anywhere near to the value that exists there? No.
Another question. Mountain biking and hiking trails, are they compatible?
Not really, no. If you think about why, one of the things that the state really governs like ATV, UTV over is when you're mixing speeds. So state highways where it's 55, they really ban ATV, UTV on state highways. It's because of that mixed speed. Well, hiking and biking, it's the same problem.
Rosa Thompson?
I like the idea. I know the whole ATV, UTV thing is completely growing. I mean, because, before you never really saw people drive around in them, and now you've got people, and even like older couples and stuff coming into town for appointments, things like that, in their, side by side or whatever it is. And it's a growing thing. So I think that's one idea too.
Marty, your first point, is gaining some traction. What's your second and third?
I don't know if I have a second and third. So that, again, here's one thing I will bring up, and that is our camping sites. We're lacking camping sites in this county. So if you go to the private campgrounds, they're always full. Literally always full. And I know we've had this kind of trying to figure out what to do at Pier Park. Whether we're allowing camping or not. I talked with Josh. I don't know if he and I had a nice meeting where we talked about a couple of different things. And Pier Park is very attractive to camp at. Everybody that sees it wants to camp there. I really feel the county needs to find an uneasy compromise where you allow camping there. It's pack in, pack out. Now, real campers understand that. We take out what we bring in, so that there's going to be stuff left. I am not ideologist that says, oh no, they'll take it all, but at least with that concept, they would clean up after themselves. And I would get just a day pass honor box or online, because there's online registration for camping that really is minimal expense to any organization. But rather than letting things sit and not being used, I'd rather see utilization. And there are ways to set that up with other contractors that there's very little cost for registration.
Would you see camping at Ash Creek?
I've never seen camping in Ash Creek. I believe, do I see it in the
Yeah.
future? Yes. Yeah. But there's going to be an investment made there, right?
Right, because that's the next question about the state tourism and the kind of resources they might have for grants.
Yeah. They tend to not have a ton of money available to develop campsites. I led with ATV, UTV because on that property, I can see where you could then have a campground. But I think that's got to provide the resource for it.
Right. President Runcie?
Do you see opportunities using the fairground property?
If you want to go plant a bunch of trees, yes. So there's a ton of campsites right there, electrical, everything good to go. There's no trees. And campers, even in today's really nice mobile home, want to get some shade. And that's been the one downfall there. There's not a ton of shade. If, you know, I've walked that property, I've looked at it, it's been a couple of years now. I think outside of events, no. Normal person, family camps, there's two things. They're going to want to be able to reserve that campsite before they get to town. They want to make sure it's there. So there has to be online registration, number one, which can be done. But then number two, when they see the open field, they're gonna be like, that's a struggle.
So you mentioned events at the fairgrounds. What
Yeah.
kind of events do you envision?
Yeah, well, I always get a kick out. There's some locals that struggle with the Hub City dirt drags. But I can show you some data on the kind of money they're bringing into this community that you would not believe. It is amazing. They really are paying their own bill there. The fairgrounds, I'll be honest with you, are not set up to handle a ton of events just because of the way the building. Let's be honest, there was no plan there. It was, oh, we need a livestock, and I'm guilty. I was probably part of it as a kid and then as a young adult. Oh, we need a livestock barn. Okay, let's build that here. And I don't know how much planning was done in that. So, you know, I think it's limited how far. But things like the dirt drags, you know, we support those locally, but also a lot of people come here for that, and they are. And I would say motorsports events, it is well suited for that. So, but outside of that, it gets kind of tough.
So I would think that Polaris, Yamaha, and there'd be quite a few potential corporate sponsors of such an event
There are.
on that.
I'm
I'm just trying to think the logical next steps.
I think, if I can make a suggestion.
Please.
I know that you have a local business that's interested in this discussion. And then I also know, Yamaha themselves do grants for this kind of, they'd be all over this project. And then I think needs to be a little more research of other venues, because they'll tell us what they did wrong, right? I'll learn, that's how I've gotten this far in life. It wasn't that I was that smart, it was that I went and talked to people that found out the mistakes they made first and tried to avoid those.
And where's the best network to find that out? ATV trails.
Yeah,
that are-
I think there needs to be, I'm willing, and in my role, it makes sense. And I just came from a board of directors meeting for Greater Richland Tourism. They knew what I was gonna say here. And I can put some time into it, really do some research on and bringing you more information of the reality of that situation and where the resources are accessible and what we want to watch out for too. And I'm happy to do that and do that over the course of the next 30 days. Because we need to move. And
Correct.
one thing I hate is good ideas that never go anywhere. But I'm happy to do that because I'm not prepared to answer too many more questions.
Well, you figure if you play out the numbers, the economic impact of this would be pretty significant.
Huge.
Yeah.
Those folks spend money.
Yeah. And we need growth.
Do I understand that Richland County Tourism is its own entity now?
So Greater Richland Tourism. Come on, Ron.
It is great.
Yeah. Yes, so we are our own pending 501c3. We are no longer connected to the city in any way. Other than we have a servicing agreement with them and that they collect room tax and give us their 70% of the room tax they collect, which is by law, they are required to do. So we now, it's given us some flexibility and ability to move on things like this. where if the board says, yeah, you can put effort to that, then I can go work on it. They knew I was gonna be here already anyway.
Marty, what's the composition of your board?
So we're looking for members, because we need to have somebody, so be careful. Right now, Brian McGraw is president. Wes Henke is vice president, owns Eagle Cave. And Todd Coppernall is our secretary. And Dennis Fry is our treasurer. That's our board at this point. So we are required by the state to make sure we have a representative from the lodging business, which makes sense because our whole goal is to increase overnight stays.
And Eagle Cave has camping.
They have camping and they have seasonal cabins. So they contribute to the room tax Eagle Township, they're one of the townships we participate with, or they collect room tax for us. Yep.
Is there hunting allowed in Ash Creek right now? In fact, now, is there like a limit on how much they take out of there?
So I've talked to some folks, so the people that hunt there aren't from our area, right? And when I talk to hunters, they really don't enjoy hunting on public land. It's uncomfortable. They don't know where everybody else is. And I don't know I don't know if there are grants involved in that property. I don't believe there are many compared to like the Pine River Trail. I know there aren't. And so that's something that would have to be a discussion. Do we close it down during hunting? What do we do? Gun deer would be your biggest issue. I tell people not to hike there during gun deer. I'm like,
Right.
I don't care how much blaze orange you wear, don't go. So.
Marty, I think you get the clear sense that we're happy to engage in thinking about this.
Yep.
Maybe moving on.
Yep.
Especially help for the county.
Yeah. Well, I am here to tell you that I'll stake whatever reputation I've got. If we had an ATV, UTV park there, that would bring people. And it would be a different group than are coming now. And not necessarily bad, just it broadens the interest. And that increases different folks who would be staying overnight. That's our goal.
Yeah, and the limited tickets per day really helps the marketing as well.
Yep.
Because that'll fill it up for years.
I'll tell you a real quick story
That'll fill it up
about
for
marketing
years.
and scarcity. Campbell Soup, way back in the 40s and the 50s, used to give a recipe book if you just collected enough of their Campbell Soup can labels and sent them in. And they got to where they didn't know if it was worth it or not. But some guy said, hey, let's start charging. Now they could send in a certain number of soup cans labels, but they also have to send $5 because we're getting low on the cookbooks and we only have so many, so we can only send so many and you have to pay for it. Their orders quadrupled because now there was more value. True story. I'm not making that up. Seriously. Looking at that guy. Carrie and I know each other very
well. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, no, happy to help.
And maybe we could look at doing mountain bike trail or the ATV stuff would maybe pay for some of that stuff.
Right,
down
that's-
the road.
That's how I see it, is that you lead with the ATV, UTV, because that's a revenue source in the future. And one real quick note, at the Ocooch Mountain Trails
Yeah.
by Alan, I always want to say Alan Brad or Rockwell, there is a mountain bike trail there. And so we do have a single track trail for that. It's not maybe in the best location, but it is a good trail. So,
First I heard it, not advertised.
well,
There is a sign on it.
Oh, boy.
yeah, I put it out on social media from time to time. You'll see where I've shared it all about it. But you're right. That's why you're hearing me talk about ATV, UTV usage versus bike. And I ride bike a lot. Used to ride a lot. I would ride some. But ATV, UTV, just in the nature of it, they spend more money. Will travel more for that. Whereas bicyclists, they'll kind of have a tour they'll do, but it's not as prevalent.
Are there groups? I'm using that term loosely because I see groups of ATV people that trailer their equipment and they park at the
Yep.
whole community center lot and then they travel around.
Yep.
Is that a formalized thing or is that just groups of friends that do
No,
that?
it's just groups of friends typically. The only group that I've seen, you know, so like locally, the Dayton Ridge Runners, who were a snowmobile club, are also and are also an ATV group, and they'll do an organized ride maybe once or twice a year. But typically what you're seeing are just friends of the same interest, and that's what they go do. Okay. Talk more?
We'll talk more. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Ash Creek has got 352 acres.
252?
Yeah, and then that industrial park where Alan Bradley's at, all those woods around there, that's about 140 some acres. That's all public where they do that.
252 sounds light.
You said 350.
352.
Okay, okay. Because I was, in my head, I'm sitting there thinking 225 acres is a lot of acreage. And then you'd still have more, something else. So. Just a thought. Thank you.
Yep, good discussion. Item number 8, review of mandatory and non-mandatory services. Just a continuation from last time. Anything anybody has? I asked Trish when will we have a sense of the budget and when it'll be tight or just what we're looking at. She said maybe by the end of the week. But not yet, but
So one of the columns is the number of people served, and it looks as though in many cases it's the population. Which is different. That's the population that could be served. Is there a way to get a feel for how many are actually being served like in the last years? Couple of years?
Would work on that, yes. Yeah, but we just really looked at it from the perspective of anybody, you know, there's many people that could be served by all of the different programs.
But there's some that have, other than 17,000, they have a real specific number, like.
Child support. So those are the actual numbers for child support of cases that they have.
And I do know in veteran services, they don't service the entire population of Richland County. That is, they service veterans and their families only, but not the entire population. And I don't know if Karen still does it or not, but we used to have people that came in to sign in. So we knew how many people we had per day.
And she gave us different numbers, much lower than this. But I looked at it from, and we can update this if that's how you guys would prefer to have it. How I looked at it is, I'm not a veteran, I'm not married to a veteran, but my daughter's in the military. So based off of that, I could be served. I could go in, maybe not necessarily be served, but I could go in, ask questions, get answers. And so that's how we looked at it, is the potential there. If you want us to adjust that to be more about how many they actually serve, we can start making those adjustments.
I would look at the ones that are actually served in the non-mandated items, because a lot of these are mandated and we've got to fill that service anyway. But I would be more interested in more actual numbers in the non-mandated items this year than.
great. This will be useful once we figure out what kind of budget we have, what kind of needs we have, what kind of we need to make if needed additions or whatever.
I have one other question. There's a road that's in the program description that says wildlife damage and it's 2 people served.
That's how many people they actually served through that program last year.
Wildlife damage was 18, right?
It's the most.
Did I?
So wildlife damage thing would be like your egg tag deer stuff.
They come through the.
I remember.
Department of Land.
I recall when that was discussed at one of the prayer meetings. Did I read the wrong row?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just have a trouble with that one line.
There are some of those like zoning and land conservation ones though that you may be serving a portion, but if you're a landowner that has property in the rural area, you probably, some of them may not be part of that, but they have the ability to. Like farmland preservation, maybe some are not in it right now, but so now they're wanting to be in these.
Is there a way of also knowing? Like, I'm thinking of what down with some of the health and human services things, like some of them maybe that are not mandated. Is there any way of knowing if they piggyback off of something that is mandated to where, like, you were to get rid of it, it might affect something that's mandated? Is there any way of knowing if something is piggybacked off of something else?
Yeah,
Comprehensive community services.
yeah, right.
You know, that's a prime example of that.
That's a service that provides mental health services to individuals who have mental health or AODA issues. If they don't have that program, then our crisis response might quadruple.
That-
Yes.
Which would lead to maybe institutionalizing with different facilities for short-term care that now we're mandated to pay for as counties.
Right, so that's why I'm just kind of like, it'd be very interesting because we might not want to get. There's something that's non-mandated and it's going to affect something mandated too much.
Mhm.
I don't know. It'd just be nice to know what's piggybacked off of
Okay.
what.
It's gonna be quite a balance.
Yes. Absolutely.
Rod?
I can see unknown quantity in here too, because my valley is non-mandated, says it serves 96 people. Well, it serves a hell of a lot more than that, indirect. I mean, every person that's there has family. And how do you say they're not serving the family? They're serving that person. It's. So,
And also with Pine Valley, a lot of times, I know when I had to go for physical therapy, the VA paid for that therapy, but that physical therapy was in Pine Valley.
And that's where we kind of got to the 17,000 with a lot of these, because exactly as you guys are talking about.
yeah,
Yeah,
I see that.
yeah.
Anything else on item number 8? Agenda item number 9, discussion of possible action, comprehensive facility improvement.
So this is something that we have been talking about, and we had hoped meeting to approve it. Well, we had Venture come out and do a study on the HVAC for both Simons and the community services building. Those numbers came back a lot higher than what we expected. And so I asked Corey to come in and give us an overview of those two recommendations for the HVAC. And then I did update all the documents with the new numbers.
I guess let's start with Simon Center. When we evaluated part of the increase, we've been finding on a lot of our projects, there's electrical HVAC that's increasing.
You speak up, please.
Sorry.
Follow behind us.
Yeah, I got the same thing, so. At Simon Center, the HVAC system. When we evaluated, we've been finding some higher costs with electrical and HVAC equipment lately. Contractors, I think we're putting on a number that they don't know, one with oil pricing increase and everything else like that. But when we evaluated, like at Simon Center, when we looked at it, we weren't going to replace equipment one for one. We were looking to improve the system. One was adding dehumidification. Obviously, it's got a pool in there. It's very humid in there, and that's part of the problem with even the enclosure. So that increase, we also, I know Tricia supplied me with a bid that was received last year, I believe it was, which was much lower. That was only for the air handling equipment, just strictly replacement. So it wasn't improving your current system. We were looking at improving it, but like I said, dehumidification. There are some issues with your ductwork, so with replacement of ductwork, piping, pumps throughout the whole facility. It was a dedicated cooling equipment. So that's part of the increase or higher than what was anticipated for that cost for the Simon Center. Similar with the HHS building, when we looked at that, if you don't know, there's 17 furnaces in the building. We're looking at replacing it with one commercial unit to take care of the whole building. And with that, there's obviously phasing in it because we've got to keep the building up and running for the most part. We'd have to phase areas out, so departments would have to be moved out so we can access the ceiling, replace ductwork, get that working in, and then obviously replace the ceiling back. So that's with the higher costs. So with that, we gave 3 options when we reviewed this first, and nobody had any inclinations of looking at just the good option or the best option. You're looking at the middle of the road, better option. And then we haven't started design, but we want to at least get something approved and what you're comfortable with on how we should proceed with the project.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
Sure.
So one question I have, Simon's has some very concrete things that we have seen are happening to the building because of the system not right. And if we look at HHS and we do an exact replacement, what could the negative consequences be if we don't upgrade the system?
Well, your infrastructure, your walls, if you have been like the Simon Center, the walls are actually kind of coming apart, peeling. It's just from the humidity that's gotten into the walls. So that needs to be corrected. Otherwise, you're just going to be ongoing. There's other concerns with the Simon Center, but with the dehumidification and new equipment, that would help that situation. When we were out there last, right before, I should say the day before we got there, complaints about that the floors were actually like sweating. They were very slippery. It had put mats down so people would slip. If you're replacing the equipment, just one for one, just for air handling, that's not improving that system.
Mike, can you talk about laying those carpets down and the walls sweating? And
Yeah,
people, it was pretty intense.
we had a few incident reports. I got a couple of calls at home. We had a couple of kids that actually slept and fell. Actually, no major injuries, but with the majority of our clientele being over 60 and below 15, obviously kids are running from lessons or whatever, and with the floor being that slippery, we had a few slips that way. We had a few older adults that had walkers or whatever that weren't sure where to walk because some of the carpets that we have have been rolled out in a while, so they had some ridges or whatever. So they were kind of trying to choose between, do I risk tripping over the carpet or do I risk slipping on the slippery floor? But yeah, it was sweating really bad. I know the people that were out there, so they've never seen that before. Some people that have been out there, and today was another bad day, of course, but yeah, those days like today are really, really tough. We did have so we get during swim team, obviously we've got 100 kids in swim team, and they all bring parents, and then visitors are all coming in. The last swim team meet, we did have a parent that passed out in the pool area, painted in the pool area, just because of the lack there, whatever. It was a really, really hot day, obviously, and the pool is a difficult area. But we're getting to the point now where we're starting to worry about some of that safety things, not just the comfort issues. It's more the safety issues now that we have concerns about.
So if I read this right, the Simon's HVAC system currently 1,275.
That's the additional that we need because we already have about 750,000 to use towards it. Because we thought $500,000 would be more.
And the numbers that we presented are conservative. We haven't gone out for bids yet. We haven't designed a complete system. So those are conservative. So the anticipation we would be under.
So what are you looking for?
So what I'm looking for from the committee, so our original list was a total of 7 million, though, that bonding in 2 separate times for 7 million. with the updated numbers for the HVAC for Simons and the community services building, they'll be up to 9 million. That's what we're gonna be using.
The money for Simons and the money for the NHS. Does Simons have to do training or something that it's going to work on? What fund is it coming from to pay for?
So where we had money was, we budgeted in capital improvement for 2026, $250,000, because those were our original HVAC numbers. Then we went out and got a quote because we used the campus funds, the 2 million of the campus. So we have 450,000 of that. I think it's 450 or 500,000, 475 that we have from the 2 million grant from the campus. So that's how we already have some money for Simons. Again, we thought that would easily cover what we needed and then learned otherwise. And again, like Corey said, that was just a replacement of the current system that we have. This would be to actually make improvements to the facility.
One thing we did note in that back storage room, there's a slight, starting to get some of the stuff that's in there. Obviously with the humidity and everything building up in there, that's what's causing. And again, there's no air circulation or anything in there.
So the question is, do we authorize one of these increases? And second question, do we move from 7 million to 9 million a month? And are you comfortable with that?
Before we decide that, can we talk about the community services building?
Sure.
And I understand that the multiple units isn't ideal. Why is this the right time to do something different? Considering it's a lot of money.
So I would say, and you can jump in here, Corey, all of the units that we have there are now, I believe, 18 years old. So they're all nearing end of life. You know, that would be a question I would have for Corey. Can we just start replacing them as they break down, put new ones in? What would the harm be in doing that versus a whole new system?
I'll be honest to say there's not any harm with doing that procedure. You're just replacing it. Again, the equipment's getting out of the, as they go, you can do it. It's not efficient. So yeah, I think your energy costs are much higher with 17 separate units than one unit. You're not gonna get the quality of air. Also, when we were out there once previously, that you have IT equipment in the closets, and when that goes, it's heated up, they had fans and everything going in there to try to cool that down. So there's other issues with that. Not to say you couldn't continue with that, but it's just not efficient. And I understand it's a lot of money and it's easier to take 1/17th, call it, of that price.
I think wasn't it last year they kept the windows and everything open in the IT room, just trying to bring the temperature down.
I understand that it's not efficient. It's not the ideal way to do it. It's just a lot of money.
Mr. Chair, on Simon's, going back to Simon's Center, and sir, you can't answer this question, but how many rural visitors do you have to Simon's versus city? I mean, is there a way you can figure out like how many people come from outside of town in to use the Simon Center versus how many people in town use the Simon Center? Not exclude the groups like the swimming.
Yeah, kids. It's city resident versus non-city resident.
Yes.
Basically, what you're looking at. We can get a pretty rough estimate by our membership outlets we've got. So they'd be Richland Center addresses. So we'd have to go manually and find out what our city Richland Center addresses. Most of that we can do because we know the streets in Richland Center, but we'd have to manually pull those out. That would take a little bit of time to do that. I can tell you so we've got about 2,000 regular members. We've got quite a few, probably double that aren't members, but actually use the facility because they come in, they're not members, but they use it for swim lessons or swim team, that type of thing. Or they're just daily drop-in users, where they just pay by the day. They're not actual members. We have two actual members that pay for regular membership. Of those 2,000 regular members, there's about 300 that are non-county members. So there's about 1,700 that are in the county or the city residents. There's about 300 that are non-county residents. So we can break that up pretty easily. If you wanted numbers, we can get, take us a little bit of time, but we can break that down and get a city county. I would guess, it's probably somewhere close to 60, 40, 50, somewhere in that area. I think it's pretty close.
Denise used to have those numbers. Denise Hanold, when she was director there, she had those numbers and presented them to the county board at one time. So there should be some numbers there that you could work with. But that was been quite a while ago now.
Yeah, I've seen those. It's quite a while. She did have it broken down by municipality as well.
There, I know that there were some from like Ropa that come down here to utilize and
Yep.
out of this area. So.
Yeah, and we can do that. We can pull those numbers out again too. Again, because of the Richland Center numbers, it would take a while because of the post office. And a lot, so we got a different software now than we had, because she had back then. We can't pull it out. It does take a little time to do that, but we can certainly do that.
Supervisor Perry.
First of all, any city resident that uses Simons is also a county resident. They pay county tax. But it seems to me, if you do these furnaces, this equipment separately, in steps, that the increasing costs will never stop. And every time you do one of those, you'll pay more and more and more, just as well as do it. I know we got bad news on the price, but I just don't see putting it off. The longer you wait, the more it's gonna cost.
When we first, the County Facilities Committee, when they wrapped up everything, at the end, they said 2 loans, max of 5 million each. So we went with the 7, because when we went through, we priced out, we thought we were there. Then we found the HVAC is a little bit of sticker shock. So we're still under that original goal of under 10. It's just 2 million is a big jump.
These are loans we're looking into then, Trish,
Yes.
and how long are the loans?
What Carol had put together last time when she was on was to do them over 20 years. So I think with this, the 7 million total, I think it was like an impact of about $0.10 on them.
Do we have a motion for the comprehensive facility improvement plan? Moved by Supervisor Perry, seconded by Supervisor Rowe. Any further discussion?
One question I'd like to just throw out there. I'm not saying I'm for this. I'm just gonna throw it out for an option. Probably not gonna make too many friends just putting this option out there. But with the better option, best option, could be up to 6.1 million added on to what is already expected is what I'm grasping, or 60.1 could be the top number for if it was the best option. And I'm just looking at it as that's a lot of money for something that's not mandated. Is it something that we have to do? What, like as far as Simons, and I know Simons is a big thing. That's why I say I'm not gonna make any friends by saying this. I'm not saying I'm for this. I'm just opening this up to a discussion. That's a lot of money to put into something. That's why I was wondering if we could separate out the two to see what, like HHS, I could understand. That's a building we're using. That's a mandated, all mandated services in there like that. I just,
Well, decision about where Simon's Labs organization has not been made, correct?
100%.
I said the decision about where Simon's would land organizationally has not been made yet.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, those are still ongoing discussions.
Yeah. Any timelines on that, do you think?
Don't know.
I think where we're at right now is, in communication with the city and the school district. Our next hope is to get a meeting with the 3 entities to be able to have the chair and vice chair sit down with myself, along with the superintendent and the school board president, along with the city administrator, the mayor, and the council chair. So we're just trying to, between superintendent, the city administrator, myself, trying to get a date that we can take back.
Yeah, so I guess where I was going with that was, you could say, wait until it lands, and then the responsibility is for the owner. But if we do that, that'll probably go to referendum, and that even makes it more dicey. And it's all public money in the first place. So why not proceed with such a valuable asset to the community?
And then now,
So if there were a transfer of responsibility for Simons and the county took out a bond to replace this, the county then be, county residents be repaid for something that we don't hold any longer?
potentially, yes.
Potentially.
Two things that I want to say. Number one, we're looking only at the better options. We're not looking at the best option. That's a really, really bad sticker shock. But I think the other thing is if we are wanting, from my understanding, the goal of the community, the goal of this committee, when we've talked before about Simons, and I think the goal of the city is to keep Simons as an asset for the community. If we have a significant issue with the building, like the HVAC, we are going to have a hard time having somebody else take it on. Because they may say that's too much of a hit to us for us to be able to take it on and then have to do all of those things. That's where our hope really was, that we could have the 2 million grant for the campus and use that to help revitalize that portion of the city.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't I hear or read, or maybe it was just a rumor, that the city backed out taking care of Simon?
The city is not backed out of taking care of Simons. The latest vote that they had was that the city is looking to decrease their contribution over the years. So they're not stepping back. They're not saying we're done. They're saying we're going to start to pay less and less. But I think that's been a goal of Mike, was to have the city and the county's contribution continue to decrease year after year to get to that self-sufficient spot.
And we're working with the foundation now to up their contribution so that they can kind of replace some of the tax supported subsidy that we didn't have. So, yeah, so we're planning for that as well.
And this money here would also affect the city residents as well. Everyone.
Yeah, because everyone would be taxed.
I think the county's budget for Simons was 50,000 cash, right? Per year.
53,000 this year.
Yeah, and I don't think Mike would worry about that not being there. If it's some reason it would have to be. But the question at this point is, what do we do given the ifs that are before us? The ifs before us are, it needs to be done. Question is when. And like,
I understand all the conversation that's taking place. This is something that is a high priority for the Simons facility because the potential injuries that could happen to the people that are using the facility. The facility is available to all county residents, plus people that are outside of the county to utilize it. It's a huge price. I have trouble with $2 million of investment in a facility that might not, we could be paying for it for much longer than it's been. But I think it's something that needs to be done for it to be a safe facility to use. If we're going to continue assignments, we need to put it into it. Otherwise, we plug.
so which way would you be leaning?
if there's a future for Simons, I think we need to invest in it. Unless we're saying there is no future there. Close it, withdraw there. And I don't think I've heard anyone say that, but that's what we do.
I will say that, so Denise first proposed or first asked for a new HVAC back in 2020 before she left. She had gotten bids for it at $200,000 to replace the AHU. This was the same, basically essentially the same bid that we got last year for twice that, a little over twice that, 450,000, 475,000, whatever it was. But they had just said was basically replacement for it. So you can see in 6 years, it more than doubled in price. And Corey could probably tell you that every year it goes up, whatever, 5-8%, whatever it might be. So even, and yeah, I understand, maybe someone else, maybe the school district will get it, maybe YMCA will get it, down the road. But there's also that, this is in the venture report, that this is the biggest risk of failure in the building that they had was for the temperature control system. And it's, majority of it is the original 1987 parts and pieces. That's coming up on 40 years old now. That's well past its life expectancy. So it's not going to get any better of it, unfortunately.
So of the 3 buildings remaining, we have Simons under our control. But not Melville Hall, or not the gym. So depending on where this landed organizationally, county could still own it. Or we could sell it.
Chair, if I may, it's the timing, I guess, because out where I live, there are a lot of residents that are already irate about property taxes going up for a system that we will never use out there. And then going to be asking for this, which is necessary. And then we're going to be asking for an item that is mandated, the county jail. There's only so much that people give for taxes before they start either moving out of the county or they have to sell their property and move elsewhere because they can't afford their taxes anymore. And it's the timing of everything that's coming down. And it's not us right now. I blame this on from years past when they kicked the can down the road. And it should have been taken care of then, but it's not. So now we're faced with this. But I tell you, I have a lot of irate people that live in Westford County that are going to be irate for quite some time. Property taxes.
It's not gonna get better.
And they know that.
And
But-
school districts are coming too.
Yeah. And we just had assessors come out in Westford Township to assess property again for the township taxes. So
So
I just don't know.
we've heard from 4. This table, how about this table? What do you two think?
Go along with Sandy, that's the timing of this is not good. I don't know what to think.
Trish, on this loan that we're proposing, we're in junction with the city on that then?
No, this is all just county.
Are they matching?
As of right now, no. When I talked last year about it, she said they wouldn't have anything for the 2026 budget to be able to do that. I could certainly ask if they would be willing to try to budget some for next year. But I'm getting the impression they're slowly walking away and I can't imagine that they would.
But if they're real partners in this, they should co-sign or be part of this project, I would think.
We just can't make them.
Right.
And to be frank, I don't think they will. When we met with the mayor and presented for the council, it's clear that the majority of their tax levy is going down. We had 2.1 million increase last year, of 1.9 law enforcement. So They didn't have any capital improvement money last year.
And I'm looking at this from, this is, the building is our responsibility. You know, the operations is shared, but the building is ours. And like when you talk about this is years been making, it is, it's years and years of deferred maintenance. The county facilities committee was created so that we could take a look at what is that we need to do. How do we get ourselves in a better position? How do we have safe, secure, efficient buildings for our people?
When I read the material in the packet, I had the understanding that the total amount was being increased. It wasn't all paid. Bonds were being all issued for the whole amount at the same time. Is that right? So it will be staggered.
It will be staying, yes. And the main reason for that is if we don't bond, if you don't spend it all within a certain time frame, we have to pay back the interest that's earned. And really, this is a lot of projects that we would need to do. And it's going to take time, and we want to make sure we're not rushing through things. And that's why I believe the ask was, could we prioritize? And so in the resolution, it is prioritized in the order that things would need to be done.
So we have a motion and a second on the table to approve comprehensive facility improvement. Given the conversation, other options have surfaced. Which one might be to pull assignments from the package first? Or postpone that decision until another meeting with both Mark and Bob here. Or go ahead and vote the whole thing now and see where that falls. Although it be tight wherever it was. Or we postpone action on the whole thing. The whole plan until next month. Three options, guys.
We have a motion and a second on the floor right now, so that needs to be voted on, I guess, or you would call a vote if they didn't want that option that was already on the floor, then that would just be a negative vote. You negative. And then one of those three options that you just presented could be the next motion in order.
Okay, I was just looking for amendments. We can do it your way.
Could, I guess.
That would be fine. What do I do it that way? Vote in favor.
Vote on the motion. then.
Vote on the motion now and then see where that takes us. And then look at one of those other three or other ones that come up. That sound good?
Depending on the outcome of the vote, correct?
Correct. So it's been moved and seconded that the comprehensive facility improvement plan be approved. And I think I'll take a roll call vote, so we're clear. Roll call vote, please.
All right, Severson?
No.
He is not present. Schoonover?
No.
Kramer?
No.
Engel?
Yes.
Welty?
Yes.
Thompson?
No.
Barry?
Motion is
Tie.
tied.
There are 4 no's and 3 yeses.
Oh, 4 noes, 3 yeses.
7.
All right.
Tie.
I can't count today. I get a cold. Okay, motion failed. We're still on the items. Next step.
Mr. Chair, can you say your options again? I'm sorry.
If I can remember them. The first one was the pull assignments from the proposal. And then vote for the proposal without Simons in it. Second was to postpone the discussion on the resolution till next month. And the third was. I want some, man.
Oh,
I
you
want
wanted,
some.
Bob and Mark to come.
Yeah, well, Mark.
Is there a timeline on when this has to be said in order for the, loans or whatever to be done? So if they're separated, one's gonna postpone a month to be maybe possibly at a decade, is there a timeline that this has to be?
So for us to do the bonding to start the projects next year, we would need it voted at full county board in August.
But we have another meeting before the county board, right?
Correct.
I wouldn't mind, just throwing this out to the public and seeing what response we get. And help guidance. We also do have a responsibility to.
What's your tool for doing that?
In that time frame, it'd be hard to do everything. I'll make a motion.
Except for that.
Hold us till the next meeting.
Good.
Hopefully all will be here.
But have those two gentlemen come too. Well, yeah,
Bob and Mark.
That are absent.
Yeah, they're,
yeah, they should be here, but
Yeah.
I'm like you, I wish they were here.
So the way I view it, this because it's phased over a period of time, I think it says over a 6-year period. There will be things that will change regardless of this. Price will increase. Facilities will change, needs will change, there'll be some urgent things that might emerge. That this is a point in time based on what we know. So if we're expecting that we'll have a really clear crystal ball to last us over 6 years, you can't keep the whole time. I think. To some extent.
What about this proposed government center that we're looking at? Cost of that, on top of.
I wasn't crystal clear on those three because I asked bronchitis about steroids and certain things. But anyway, we defeat the motion, but now we can table the exact same motion until next month.
correct.
He made a motion, yeah, it wasn't the table, because the table,
Yeah.
you're gonna take it up later in the meeting, so it'll be done.
You can't table.
Yeah.
Right.
Postpone.
The motion would be to postpone the comprehensive facility improvement plan as currently written till next month.
Second.
Any discussion?
The comment was made about kicking the can down the road. That's what-
But we know.
It's not right. Sorry. but it's not.
It's true.
Well, I won't be here for the August 12th meeting. I'll be out of time to county, which I think Simons deserves this. But it's been moved and seconded to postpone discussion of possible action on comprehensive facility improvement plan until the August 12th. Second, finance. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Number 10. Discussion of possible action, transfer funds from Fund 370 to 360.
All right, should be happier, quicker at least, if nothing else. Happier news. So anyway, so our Fund 370 is where our grants and donations live. And our Fund 360 is our general operating budgets where our expenses from. So as you can see here, we received 13,000 in grants to run our free swim lessons last year, and that was placed in our Fund 370. We expended, so those classes were held. So between our instructor costs and the cost for the bus transportation, you can see the cost there was about $8,600. We paid that out of our 360, so now we need to reimburse the county, or need to reimburse our Fund 360 out of our donation fund. So we're just seeking a transfer from our donation funds to our Fund 360, so we can balance the budget or get our costs back. This was recommended by the Simon's Board at their last meeting. Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Kramer, second by Welty. Any further discussion? All in favor of transfer of funds from Fund 370 to 360 for Simon, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Discussion and possible action, use of a bid, thank you, Mike, bid packet for tax deeds.
So the bid packet, that was put together by Corporation Council. Previously, what I had seen within the records that we had is there was no really direct instructions for the public besides a short notice and a half a page bid requirements section. And I couldn't find terms and conditions that were mentioned within those particular documents. And therefore, we need something that's a little bit more standardized, a little bit more streamlined, and is able to give the public a lot more information, cleaner information, to give you guys better understanding of how to actually make a solid choice when you do your choosing of who, for example, who you guys approve to actually buy these properties for tax deed, excuse me. So we kind of work together to kind of modify it for what we use here for Richland County as far as what our ordinance is right now. There's a couple different sections within this. So we do have the cover sheet. So the cover sheet here is where it would indicate when the tax auction was, the location and the time for those particular, for the bids or for the tax deed itself. And then we also have the terms and conditions that are very, very nice. They're explanatory as well, which is on pages 1, 2, and 3 to 4. And so that's going to go over giving more people information of how do they actually get the bids to us. Do they get it in a check? Do they get it in a form? What's covered under there? If they have to extinguish loan or liens and things like that. It also goes over kind of what our ordinances are, and as well as state laws in place to give more people information of what the process is, why we're doing things a certain way per our ordinance and per state statutes. The next section would be going over, this would be unique for every single tax deed. This is set by the Public Works Committee. The information that we put on here would be the same information that we put on the website. All of this information would be on the website as well as a packet that people could download and they could use that accordingly. But this information here would be put on by Public Works because they're the ones right now that dictate what goes on the website and how we sell those particular properties. So we would have pictures, we would have the parcel, the address, the legal description, how many acres, various information that the public would need to be interested in that particular property, as well as minimum bids, things like that. So this obviously is just an example. This would be used as a template for every single with this being unique, and then obviously when it's going to be sold, those. The next section on here is how to bid for the tax deed. So this is really just a breakdown of where you can find this information, being able to make sure that they fill out this bid form, that they have to read the terms and conditions, how the check has to come, and how it has to be in a sealed bid. So this is just an example. I just drew up with a random envelope that I had. This would come into my office sealed, and then this would be opened at executive and finance. We can go through those on that particular day. And then it also says it has to be 10% down, things like that. So very, very basic outline of that. The next section would be the actual bid agreement form. And this is very self-explanatory. What's the amount of the bid, what they're actually selling for. Every single bid would be only for that particular property that's on sale. So if they're bidding for more than one property, they're going to have more than one envelope. So they're going to fill out all these forms for just that one, put it in one envelope. That way we're not having multiple sealed bids for multiple properties in one envelope. We're going to have one for every single one, and they're not bid for. And this also gives me information, the attorney's information on how they actually want this to be written for the tax deed, so we can get their information right when we're doing that deed. So that information it's on there as well. And then the last form is really for the Executive and Finance Committee. And this is just a brief outline of giving you guys a little bit more information of what that bidder might be doing with that particular property, to give you a little bit more information of that, their intent essentially. So those are really all the sections that we have here. This is modified for what Lafayette County does, just for the Richland County version of it. So I really wanted to be able to make sure that you guys had bids that were acceptable, bids that were completely filled out. Everybody knew what needed to do. And then you would have this last page to kind of be able to make sure that if there's any additional questions that may not have been answered, that the people that are bidding on it can give you more information on what they choose to do that, so you can make an educated determination on who you choose for that.
Supervisors, with your pleasure.
Would you propose buyer be able to, property that they're gonna bid on inside the building?
That would be an attorney question. I
No.
haven't seen where they have, so no, I haven't seen where they ever have been able to get it to work.
So it'd be.
It's as is.
Sell something. Don't know if the roof leaks, let's say.
Yeah, it's all as is.
That's pretty common.
So the city, on numerous occasions, has had discussions about individual properties that are homes. And what individual properties that are homes that are foreclosed on. And their idea is to have some type of agreement in bid. That says, hey, this should be single family ownership, not outside ownership, because they're having difficulty with the homes being maintained. So they've been asking us about whether or not that's a possibility for the county to consider.
I don't think that we can determine that and make that. I don't think we can, quote me if I'm wrong, I don't believe that we can tell them, yes, you can do this with your property, no, you can do this for your property. We can't enforce that after they buy it.
Yeah, you can't enforce that. And it's in most tax foreclosed properties or home stub parcels for the most part.
Well, Jason seems to think that they could do that. So I'm wondering whether,
Probably could have done that. I have seen that like within the previous stuff, but the laws have changed where, we can't just pick it because they're gonna do it. We have to be able to give the previous owners due diligence of buying the highest parcel, the highest amount to get back to the previous. So we can't enforce what they do with the property or not, because it's not really our property. And please correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, that's accurate.
is it possible for you to have that conversation with Jason?
We can have that conversation with Jason.
The only thing that they could do is
That would be
zoning.
very helpful.
It's a zoning issue, but that would come down to zoning, how that property is used, where they got control, or the permitting, like they wanted to put a deck on there, or do whatever that they need to go through that, they can deny all that stuff.
Correct, yeah.
Because they can go, I don't even give them a single tax down, but they can tell me what I can and can't do with my property.
Well, the DNR can.
That'd be helpful. Jason Glassbrenner is the economic development specialist.
The DNR properties are taxed, you have to get approved by the actual DNR before you sell them. So that's another caveat or gray area down the road too. And that also has to go with the contaminated properties as well. This is just strictly, your cookie cutter drive, parcels that we're trying to sell as far as homes, vacant land and things like that.
I know the DNR told me where I could and could not build
Yeah,
that.
so those are actually, they have to be approved as well, and that has to be a timeline.
I think that where they would be able to have a say is if that house was like, you bought the house as is or that property, but you wanted to change the use function of it, make it commercial property or whatever, that's where the zoning comes in, and I think that's where they have control.
But yeah, that would be
And
way
we would have some
after.
say of it too, depending on where it falls at within the county.
Supervisor Perry?
City would have control over the zoning, but it were zoned single family, somebody bought it and patched it up. I don't know if they would be able to. It would still be
That's just what they
a
asked.
slum.
I know, I've seen them do that before, but since the rules have changed and we have to be able to give the previous owners we have to give them our due diligence, make sure that we get the most out of that money. We can't really determine, we don't really have a say in what the new buyers choose with it. And we can't have an agreement, like if they don't do it, we have to take it back. That's not how tax deed works because the county doesn't technically own it. We're just kind of a pass through, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
You could buy it for less than the amount owed in taxes. And that part of the S is you also inherit all the back taxes as well.
So is there a motion in order on this? Do you need that or is this just?
This is just,
Oh,
I wanted to kind of go through this with you, to see if you guys, your blessings for us to use that going forward. So it wouldn't necessarily have to go to county board because you guys are the ones that would be using it. Because.
So you would need it. You're looking for approval from us today on this.
Correct, just so I can get it started.
Supervisor.
I was glad to see it because I often wondered how that worked. Now I know.
Is that a motion? Second by Kramer. All in favor, any discussion, further discussion? Also, signify by saying aye. Opposed, no.
So this form will be on the tax deed website, for people to be able to download, and then they could be able to fill that out, and send that in. These would also be, indicated within the notices that are in the
Thank you, Angela.
and then I'll touch base with you about meeting with Jason.
Let's go. I think the chair is going to call a 5-minute stretch. Back.
So I get to go do some of stuff. So yeah, just kind of let me know your time frames.
Too fast.
Sorry. So I think it's.
Yeah,
I think it might be getting confused with, companies where they don't go for bid, like where they don't get sold. But this is really strictly for us, but it's not necessarily the ones that we could do after the sales, like after the first sale.
Well, again, I don't do policy, but I would say. You know, it's not the most for references, so why we can't limit. But I do something.
So we have to do this. We have to get the most out of the properties there. Yeah. Because this is what the properties were. So the concerns that we face outside. If we don't do that, then I would forget. That's what my fear.
Most of the property, you're lucky to get it. I think it's.
That's, yeah. I see the letter draft, but it's where it comes in.
Okay, is it something?
I did see that, and I had to deal with all
It's
the other ways, so.
What
I
I,
had a doctor's appointment to come back.
That's
what I did was
that's Stephen.
literally took the information. Now, a lot of the other stuff. I figured out.
It's Simon's signature get resolved pretty quickly. It's been delayed. It's really not fair to them. Yeah. We agree. Just walking on walks over that floor.
It's the same.
It does say it on the site, it's like, but
Yeah, and it's like you, I know people that. have, you know, Water training. Yeah, to where they just walk
Water
around.
therapy.
pools and the therapy. And then.
it irritated me. But my husband was on Medicare and I wasn't, I had to pay full rate. It wasn't like they took the amount. Couple split it. They paid for his.
So,
I
it's
had to
like a
class,
gift
so it actually cost more.
Yeah, they have their ways, that's for sure.
No, I don't have access to it. Oh.
Eighty-eight's pretty feisty.
What?
88's pretty feisty, is it? 88 still in the middle. I love it.
Friday night, they brought in Gunderson, they had a talk with them.
Yeah, it's not there.
Then Jerome's comments afterwards.
I didn't, oh, yeah, oh my goodness. I knew some of the comments before he got there, but I didn't know.
Sure. So with the idea about the multi-use facility at Ash Creek, they put a public word out first or? The logical step.
Yeah, or, yeah, I guess wherever that property falls under, it used to be under land conservation.
So that would be a new item for next time, seeing whether we want to, as a committee, recommend public works to explore that. Right, that's what it works.
Or land conservation, natural resources up there, are the ones that oversee that property. Right now,
They do.
well, they used to, I don't know how this restructure stuff did.
Who controls Ash Creek?
Parks reports to Public Works.
Public Works.
What's natural resources involvement?
Very little.
Is that when they have a timber sale or something only?
And I used to be under the natural resources committee before it got switched over, I guess, to parks. They used to oversee it.
So the Richland County Executive Finance Standing Committee reconvenes at 6:32 with agenda item number 12. Chair may entertain a motion to enter closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 1985(1)(8), considering employment, promotion, compensation, and performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the government body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. County administrator. We have a motion.
Roll call vote.
Yeah, motion. Motion by Kramer, second by Welty, with a roll call vote, please.
All right, Cooey? Here, Schoonover? Yes. Kramer?
Yes.
Engel?
Yes.
Healthy?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Frank? Severson?
Yes.
Barry?
And that motion, it should have been included though, whether you want the administrator to stay in or not. I guess we might have to make another motion, correct?
Oh,
About allowing the administrator either to stay in or leave and then allow for council if he wants, or if they need to stay.
Yeah, that's up to you guys. Generally, whether you want to do it by. Or not.
do we have to do my motion? So, two separate or?
Well, it should have been included in the first one and I didn't catch that.
I didn't even-
We're in closed session, so now it's. Whether or not.
So if we're being closed, we should shut off the recording and shut the door.
That's up to you guys.
July 27th. Chair will take a motion to go out of open session, out of closed session.
Yeah.
Moved by Ferry,
I
second by
second it.
Kramer. I think we do roll call vote for that, don't we? Part of closed session.
Already been on a slow session, we're being back in open session.
Did I do that wrong?
I think we already did it.
So we can, coming back into open session.
Yes.
So we are on, so we're already open, and we're on correspondence. Possible action on items from closed session, there are none. 15, correspondence. There is none. Future agenda items.
Gotcha.
Discussion about so 532 acres.
That's
Or-
great.
Ash Creek Forest?
Ash Creek Forest and Public
Yeah.
Works. That should be on the agenda. Any other? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Kramer, second by Welty, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you all.
Yeah, what is approved?
Thanks, Tricia.
Yeah.